Hi, my name is Amy Johnson. This is a leadership profile for my leadership and ethics class at Central Methodist University. My leadership profile was on Ronald Reagan, our 40th President of the United States. Ronald Reagan was born on February 6th of 1911. He was the second son of John Edward and Nell Wilson Reagan. He was born in Tampico, Illinois. Ronald Reagan attended the Illinois public schools for his elementary and high school education, and then he went on to attend Eureka University in Eureka, Illinois. Ronald Reagan graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics and sociology in June of 1932. After college, Reagan became a sports commentator. He became known as the Great Communicator. He earned that title. He was very good at speaking to a crowd and engaging the crowd, and that's what earned him that nickname. In 1937, Reagan moved to Hollywood and began his 30-year career in film and television. He became active in the trade union, and then in 1947, he became president of the Trade Union of Film Actors. Reagan's work in the trade union served as valuable experience for his political career. And then in 1949, he began working for General Electric, where he conducted a television program. And part of his job for General Electric was traveling through the production departments and interacting with the employees. In 1962, Reagan changed his political position from Democrat to Republican. And then in 1967, Reagan ran for the governor of California. His campaign advocated for the return of good morality and the return to law and order, and reducing the budget of California and returning power back to the citizens instead of the government. Reagan won that campaign, and he served as governor of California from 1967 to 1975. During that time as governor, Reagan he gained a lot of leadership qualities that carried on through his presidency. And in 1981, Ronald Reagan became our 40th President of the United States. He had great success as a speaker, which he had that quality for since his sports commentator years. His policies identified with American values and traditions. He was a very calm, self-confident, optimistic man. Reagan and Aristotle's virtues. So leadership and Aristotle's virtues. Aristotle interprets virtue as moral virtue. You live by the golden mean. You are to be noble. It requires practical friendliness, civic mindedness, and participation in public life. Requires economically independent citizens. Political activity must have a goal of common good rather than private economic interest, which Reagan did. Reagan cared about the people. He got the people involved in his campaigns and his goals for the United States. Thomas Jefferson was the creator of the American classical republicanism. Reagan shared similar beliefs as Jefferson did. They both believed that social nature came from an innate moral feeling along with concepts of virtue. As president, Reagan earned the nickname Teflon. He earned this nickname he just let everything roll off his back. If something bad happened, he just kind of let it roll off his back, and he just focused on ways to make it better. He didn't let things get to him. He just kind of went with the flow. Reagan, as he earned when he was a commentator, the Great Communicator, that followed him through his political career and into his presidency. He had a great gift for communicating with people. He was able to get the crowd engaged. get people excited. He was a very optimistic person. When the speech writers would give him a speech, he would always add things such as stories or examples that would pertain to the audience that he was speaking to, just to get them involved. Always optimistic, never always looked at things through the glass is half full instead of half empty. If something went wrong, he focused on a way to make it better instead of, dwelling on the fact that things didn't go the way that he wanted them to go. Reagan never lost sight of his goals and continued to work toward them throughout both his terms in office. He didn't waver back and forth of what he wanted. He knew what he wanted, and he worked towards that goal the entire time he was in office. He repeated his goals often in his speeches and to the crowd and to the citizens, just so they knew where he stood and what it was that he expected and what he was working towards. If there was something that he knew he wasn't going to achieve 100% what he wanted, he knew when to compromise, when to, accept that he wasn't going to win and take what he could take out of the situation. During his meetings with the cabinet, he would always encourage free expression from all the cabinet members. He let everybody put in their 2 cents and kind of what they felt about the situation. This allowed him to look through things through different points of views. Instead of just seeing things, the way he would see them, he would see them through the way everybody else would see them, and that gave him a better point of view on things. He was a humble man. He was a great leader who served his followers. His number one priority was the citizens of the United States and the interest of the U.S. During his presidency, Reagan overhauled the income tax code. While in his first term in office, the nation enjoyed peace and prosperity without recession or depression. Reagan sought to achieve peace through strength. He increased spending on defense by 30%, but then he also improved the relations with the Soviet leader, Gorbachev. He declared war against international terrorism. President Reagan died in June of 2004 after a long battle with Alzheimer's.